Oh,
Yep.
Yeah.
Your mic is up.
Yeah.
can y'all
It's
hear me?
always, yes, it's always at the beginning of the
I'm
stream.
gonna have to start doing the countdown just for my mic to get involved
Catch up.
because it's always starts off wonky. But yes, we are back with our third Walter Hill film. You know, we done did 3 weeks of Walter Hill, and we're gonna conclude with the movie Trespass from 1992. I have Varangian Vigilante, my co-host. How's it going?
It's going very well, and a movie I've never seen before, and I also never heard the title Trespass before, because as I found out, in the German part of Europe, this movie was distributed as The Rap Gang. The Rap Gang, which you have to mention, it's the German D, which is the English there, so it's the article. It's like their Rap Gang. It's not like Die Rap Gang.
That's something I wish would happen today, but man.
Yeah.
That when Americans see this thing, like they already putting the black men in this film on the die pedestal. Like, yeah, die Rap Gang. You got Ice-T, Ice Cube, and they're gonna die at the hands of William Sadler and Bill Paxton.
Yeah. Gotta kill the rapper off, man.
This is after NWA's Fuck the Police and Ice-T's Cop Killers. So they're like, yeah, die Rap Gang.
Yeah, Gary Oldman would have probably said it's White Boy Day.
Yeah.
I swear, when you sent me this morning, I was dying. I was like, that's the German title? But forget about the fact that, you know, it's different from how we interpret it. Like you said,
Yes, of course.
Rap Gang.
It's like the Rap Gang. It's like, because in German we have like 3 articles, der, die, das. While in English it's only der.
The first thing we said, die Rap Gang, die Rap Gang, die. That's crazy, man.
Oh, man. What a way.
I felt like they still could have chose a different title.
Absolutely. You know, like I said to you in the pre-show, when I saw this title, I was thinking, okay, what were the distributors thinking in the 90s, like in Germany? You know, there's this movie Trespass where it's like, this is only 2 white people in it. How we promote it in Germany? Like,
you got 2 rappers on the color. So
exactly. But there's 2 rappers, and rap is coming out big in the 90s in Germany. So let's make it a rap-related title. Even though there's no rap association in the movie itself.
It's crazy. But what this movie do have is a great cast of African Americans in there.
Yes, it does.
You know, like, yeah, there's 2 white guys and a bunch of black guys, but there's a great cast in there. Some of them guys like getting their starts. Other guys been in other films, but it's a great movie, and it got trashed by the critics, but fuck the critics, you know.
I really like, how can you trash this movie? This movie is as many Walter Hill movies. It's basically like an ancient quest. It's basically almost like a medieval quest in a modern day scenario. It is like, from the sheer interpretation of the medieval quest, not that far away from Apocalypse Now, because Apocalypse Now is basically like a search for the Holy Grail only in the Vietnam War. While here, of course, it's also like, here's literally the search for a Grail.
Exactly.
Exactly. So they're looking for like a church treasure. And the movie itself, you know, from all the beats, it could have also been totally like a spaghetti western.
It has that feeling of a spaghetti western, you know, we're hunting for treasure, and then who's gonna backstab who? Yeah.
Yes, and also, of course, you have like the very limited set, which takes basically most of the movie just part in one abandoned company building. So it's also like how we call it, like a Kammerspiel. So which probably the most modern variant of it was like the Hateful Eight.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so every critic that is shitting on this film, I think, hasn't done like their homework. And also, with Ice Cube and Ice T, both are really good actors. And it's like if you're not a hater, it's really tough to criticize them for their acting because they're excellent. And also Walter Hill himself said, once he noticed like how good they really were as actors, they said, you can ad-lib a lot of the dialogue, make it feel like more real, and he gave them like a really wide leeway, and they didn't disappoint, and they didn't fall down next to like very established actors.
And considering the fact that this is like their second or third role in terms of being in starring role, it was great to have somebody like Walter Hill give them that leeway of ad-libbing their own lines and saying what you say, how you feel the characters should say it.
Yeah.
And I always thought that Ice-T had a cool and menacing presence about it.
Absolutely. It's definitely not Busta Rhymes in Halloween.
But like he got his start with New Jack City, even though he was in some films previously. New Jack City was like his first big role, and I thought he did okay in it. Like in terms of all of the actors that was in the film, but he always had this presence about him.
Yes.
And then this movie, as King James, I felt like he intensified it. With how desperate his character was to get his little brother back. To me, that was like the big theme of his character, making sure his brother is safe.
And not only that, he delivered all like the lines perfectly, like also the mimic was like spot on.
Yes. Yeah. And Ice Cube coming off of Boys in the Hood, he just amplified his character from that film, and more of the. He's the tough guy. He wants to be his own boss, and his clashes with King James in the film, like
very
it really elevates their side.
Yeah.
So it's like the battle of the Ices, along with them going up against Bill Paxton.
Yeah, and once more, also with Walter Hill, that he already established like all the important character traits, like right at the beginning of the film. From the analysis, from the shooting in the car, to later, like from the first Call of Duty for the firemen, for Sadler and for Paxton.
Yep.
So very on already we had like the basis of the character introduced, what we as audience must know, and the other details we really found out like via how they acted in certain situations under pressure.
And that to me is the basis of a really good film, is that you take those elements and you just put them together and say, go do your thing and let the story tell itself. We know the characters of the firefighters, first of all, they seen a horrific death.
Yes.
With how they got that treasure map, the dude just giving it up and feel like his life is over and he just burnt himself to death. And then once they see what the map is, they debate on whether or not they want to go.
Yeah.
And that's a big journey. Cause where they from Arkansas, right?
Arkansas.
Yeah, Arkansas. Yeah, they listen on St. Louis.
And I like that they chose a different location of because you would think you see Ice-T and Ice Cube, you think, oh, this is a movie in the West Coast because that's where they were based. But no, they took the Midwest of St. Louis as the location. And, some people want to classify this as a hood movie. And I was like, no, this is not
I don't consider this
not a hood movie at all. Just because the majority of the cast is black does not classify it as a hood movie.
It's basically when somebody says this is a hood movie, you already know where they're coming from.
Yeah, just because they see Ice-T and Ice Cube, that's a hood movie. No, it's not.
It's supposed to be their environment. They not part. They part of a no trespass on the church.
Yeah, the old Catholic church.
Old Catholic Church. Hey, that's what that's the environment. So you can't consider that a hood movie just because
Exactly.
they got majority black cast and Ice Cube, and Ice-T.
Yeah, this is a classic adventure movie.
And that I
You
love
can
it
say
for
so,
that. I love it for that, and and the fact that Vincent and John takes that road trip to go find this treasure, you're right there with them to say, okay, now they searching for the treasure, looking through, and as they are going through, they find the first character that they introduce to is Bradley, played by the great Art Evans, another underrated actor in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Every movie I see him in, he always has great lines and great acting in it. And he was a trip throughout this whole movie because technically that was his place.
Yeah,
he stayed there. It's an abandoned church, so who's going to come and look for this thing?
Yeah.
So that's basically his home.
Yeah, and it's
that was the first instance of trespassing on a homeless man's home.
That's his property. He owns it.
Go ahead, V.
Yeah, because originally they wanted to call this movie like Looters.
Yes, and
they changed the title, but it's because this was actually looting from the first from Paxton said like going in and they're basically looting what is not their own.
But sadly, the Rodney King incident happened and the looting in L.A. took place, and that's when they changed the title because of it.
Yeah. I mean, I think also that Trespass is a better title because I also think it's more it's like more multifaceted than Looters.
Plus, everybody is trespassing in the area.
Yeah, exactly. So it really fits to everybody, and because let's just say I think rightfully, from U.S. law, nobody has the right to be. I don't know how it is in the US. I know in certain countries in Europe, when a building is abandoned for a certain amount of years and somebody moves in, they can claim it. I think in Italy, they can claim it after a while when they're renovating it themselves. But I don't know how the law is in the US. But I think for Italian law, actually Beanie had a good argument for being there. It's hey, this is you're ruining my floor here, on your treasure hunt. And
so he said that it's also his property, but it's also the location where King James and the boys they do their business too. That's that hideout. Because I'm seeing the scene right here where they found the body hanging up. Now I'm assuming that's the body of the guy that got killed in the car, and they probably hit his body dead.
Could be, man. Who knows? It's
who knows?
That's what I'm saying.
But it also shows that I think by establishing that there's basically a corpse hanging from the ceiling being already eaten up by rats is it already shows there is no law enforcement is coming by here regularly.
No, they're not gonna come by.
Hey, you know what that made me think of? It made me think of the 4th season of The Wire, when they were using the vacated houses to store dead bodies in.
Yeah.
And who gonna go and trespass around vacant lots that nobody lives in?
Don't want to go around vacant lots, so that's why you can do your dirt there.
Who would go in such houses? Well, ghost hunters.
Or if
actually, that would actually. I mean, is there a movie like that? That would be actually a fun movie to have just some weird ghost hunters going to think it's a haunted house and then it's just a murder house from it.
I know there's some reality shows on that, ghost hunters going into stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the establishment itself was a great setting for this whole thing, because now there's different levels, and I like how they're using their metal detector to try and search for the treasure, and then all of a sudden, what we saw at the beginning of the film was somebody get shot, and basically, and another thing you gotta give Walter Hill credit, when they did the opening scene and the guy got killed by Goose, somebody's recording it.
Yeah.
And Walter Hill paid attention to various news videos about gang culture, and it was always somebody had a camera to record stuff, for the gangs. So it's like he incorporated that into the gang, the saying like, hey, there's a guy named Video. All he does is video.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense because you're videoing incriminating evidence against yourselves if you get caught.
It happens in real, like I said, it happens in real life, but also when you're already sinning so much like with crime, then vanity it's a very easy sin to also commit.
So they got video of Goose killing the man, so pretty much just ruining the deal for King James. So when they show up to the place, and now like they're looking for the treasure, but these guys show up to handle Goose, and then once they throw Goose off the damn building and he dies, and the part where he broke his back falling down.
Yeah, that was brutal.
And Bill Paxton was just a little
too nosy,
curious, too curious.
Yeah, because he should have stayed in the room.
Yeah.
But because
he froze. They had enough time to he didn't even run back into the room when they he just stayed there and froze. He was so shocked, he was so frozen in the moment that he couldn't move. That's what all of them was able to come down the stairs and meet.
It's just funny because they're like also in the beginning, they're establishing that Bill Paxton's character is it's like he's more the innocent side.
And to me, like that, he's like the one character that you want to root for.
Yeah.
Like everybody else has their despicable ways, even his partner, and while the Art Evans Bradley is hilarious, he at the same time kind of goes both ways.
Yeah, but actually I really like it. I think that's still like from everything that goes, I think that still Bradley had the most claim about the gold. From all the characters involved, and Paxton's characters wins. He was like the most innocent one, but he still had like the gold last, but he managed to overcome it, and this is why he survived. That is why he got away with his life.
He talked a lot of shit throughout the entire movie, though. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
And another thing is, while they paint the gang as the villain, King James does have some sympathy because of his relationship with his brother. Lucky. And when you see how he's desperate to get his brother back, you start to feel a little sympathy for him because that's all he cares about. He's telling his gangs to stop shooting. As long as they got my brother, we need to try and figure out to get his safety before we take them out.
Yeah, and in the hands of a lesser director, this movie could have been very stereotypical. But with Walter Hill, who really knows the nuances of characters, you can clearly see that, every another director would probably, this is like the gang and the all stereotypical gang members. But with Walter Hill, you could really see from the beginning the different characters and different ambitions that everybody in the gang has, and already you can see, there's gonna be some arguments between them as long as this goes on. And especially later, once like some people find out, it's like there's a fucking treasure hidden there.
And the fact that King James he didn't even say gang, like we businessmen. He's an associate.
And I think this was also the moment that Paxton, from his point of view, with all the biases like that he has, and it's like, hey, we don't want to have any part in your gang shit. I think like this was like the mood, like the point of no return, where negotiations were off. They couldn't really see, there's like no basis for trust for any deal they would have made.
Actually, could have happened, but I don't want to get too far ahead. But the truths could have happened.
It could have happened, but they were never able to establish any sort of trust. So it was like, yeah, and this is like the interesting part also with Walter Hill, that he also showed, like, later on, when discussion and that King James was still, maybe we should try like reason once more.
Yep.
And seven, like Ice Cube's character, like, nah.
He was the trigger happy one. He wanted to
very trigger happy.
He wanted to take them out and get the hell out of there. But then once he found out of the gold, which is from another character that comes into play, and his whole perspective changed. Now there's more stakes at hand.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, the firefighters, Vince and Don, they have a stake in it because of the gold. The gang just want to take them out because they're witness to the murder.
Yep.
And I also really like that. That basically also like that the Kim James was always like, all thinking, hey, wait a moment, when the cops showed up, and it's like, wait a moment, why didn't they try to call like the cops to inform the cops? There must be like, there must be something going on. Why are they here?
They did a fake cop thing. What's the name? Dressed up as a fake cop. So that was the first sign that they said, wait a minute, they ain't called for the cops. So what's going on?
Yeah.
That's what got them suspicious.
Exactly, and they were also never able to give like a good answer.
Yeah.
Should have just said, we just like abandoned places. We just want to.
Well, let's be real. At the beginning, they both wanted the cops. They wanted the cops to come. But when they found that gold, it was complete opposite. Because Don, he wanted no part of the cops. What he said is true. If they wanted to call the cops and bring them in on the whole situation, if the cops find that gold,
they claiming it.
I also think
that they found the gold, but they're gonna try to keep it for themselves. They ain't gonna turn that gold in.
It also shows, like with Don, that he's not the most intelligent character, and he's mostly driven like by emotions, and also very low goals. Like, hey, I have to. I lost my house. I have to pay rent. The divorce, etc., was expensive. And also later say, hey, this was gold, like in worth of $1 million. I'm pretty sure, like, if everything there was pure gold, it's way more than $1 million. Not only that, but also like, if you would add, of course, the cultural aspect. Also like the gems that were like on the church relics and everything. It would have been worth way more, but of course you can't sell it. Like, how would they have sold it? They would have needed to melt it anyway.
And considering the fact that gold changes everybody's perspective.
Yeah.
Vince and Don.
The ecstasy of gold.
Vince and Don were in it at the beginning, but once the business associates took control, Vince was like, man, we need to get the hell out of here. Screw this gold.
Yeah.
And Don was like, man, we still on this mission. The gold started to consume him.
Yeah,
especially when they found it.
It also shows like the priorities, when you have both characters, and then you find out, also at the discussion in the car while they were driving there. And it's like, hey, what did you tell your girlfriend? And you can also say that that Vince has like a really good life. Like having his job, having a good relationship, like his life is really solid. Like he wouldn't need the gold to really, of course it would have been like a game changer, but he already had a good life. While for Don, everything was going downhill. For him, the gold was the way out. Like for him, it was like the gold could rewrite his whole story.
Yeah, but at the expense of your life or what the situation you're dealing with.
Yeah, you can really say that his life was like in a dumpster at this point. So he didn't value his own life as much as Vince was valuing his.
And look at when they got there, he was the one that had the gun, because he brought a gun to say, hey, always gotta have protection. And they're fortunate to have it.
Yeah.
They
needed that.
But at the same time, now with you having a gun, look at King James and his crew. They called for reinforcements.
Yes, they did.
They brought in the heavy artillery, and it also shows like once more like the two different character archetypes. That with Vince he was like very innocent. For him this was like a fun adventure, a weekend trip, and coming home with like pockets full of gold, a fun story to tell. For Don, he was like already thinking like he already had like this this mindset of like being through some shit in his life, and so like also bringing the gun, etc. So you have like very different character archetypes, which started out like basically as two firefighters, so very same. But then the longer the movie got, they were like pulled apart even more.
And I'll say this: I've said it off and backstage, but William Sadler is one of the most underrated, underappreciated actors.
Yeah.
Because this man is so versatile, and he can play movies where he's serious action movies, and then he could take a comedic role like Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey as the Grim Reaper of Death, and make it hilarious.
I still think, like I also talked this like Die Hard video back then, that I totally believe that Die Hard 2 is way better than Die Hard 1, and William Sadler was an awesome villain in the second Die Hard.
Yeah, and he's so good in everything that he's in. Like he's in the Shawshank Redemption.
Yep.
Great character in there. He had an appearance in Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I remember I hated him in there. That shows how great of a character he was.
Yeah.
He was in the Green Mile too.
The Green Mile. Damn, that movie is sad. But yeah, he's such an underrated actor that doesn't get talked about enough when it comes to it. And the Tales from the Crypt Demon Knight. I love that movie.
That movie, yeah. Billy
Zane. Yeah.
Billy Zane. Listen to your friend Billy Zane. We really in the future have to talk like Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood.
Yeah.
And Bordello of Blood is just a From Dusk Till Dawn ripoff, but still fun.
But yeah, I just love his performances in films, and he was like perfectly cast as Don, the man who's desperate to bring that gold home, and he shows it in his emotions and his reaction. Like, he's not making rational decisions, but then you see the desperation of saying that gold is coming home with me.
Yes.
And you see Bradley was kind of sided with him. Now you saw how his tone changed when he saw the gold.
Yeah, it's like
all the time I've been here, and there's been gold sitting in this. I've been sitting on the gold.
Yeah. I absolutely love this. That direction by Walter Hill gave everybody, that the moment they laid eyes on the gold, where it's like really pure ecstasy, like really in a spaghetti western. Also, Ice Cube's character Saffron, when he had like the grail, and like his whole demeanor changed.
Yeah.
Like,
and I like how they found the gold, and stuff, and Lucky's in the back because he was tied to the door. He's in the background listening.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, there's gold here." So the next time they have a conversation with him, like, "That gold belongs to us. This is our territory."
Yeah.
So the gold completely changed everything.
Well, remember, Raymond was the first one that found out about it when he went to their car and busted their tires and looked for everything inside. He found that paper. It's telling the gold, and that's what he did.
Now, the characters. First of all, I'm going to give props to Stoney Jackson as Wiki.
Yeah.
He was great in this movie as well. We talked about him with Streets of Fire. So Walter Hill brought him back for this film. I like how King James said, "Call Raymond up. We gonna need him." And Wiki's like, "You sure you want him?" Already saying that Raven is a bit of a shady character.
Yeah.
And once we got a look at him, he got out the car with his hat and pimp suit on, it's like, yeah, this guy looks shady as fuck.
He's the player.
And Bruce Young played the hell out of that role, because he owned it. And Raymond, like he had the flashy suit and all, but he was the one that stored the guns. You know, he was the heavy artillery, and once he came with the weapons, they like, nah, everybody's packed.
And I think he's their intel because the fact that King James told him, "Yo, you need to find dirt on these guys, find out why they did."
Talking about, I got things to do. Like you working for me now, homie.
He paid the money right up front. You work for me now.
I want to harken back to what you said before. You know that with Lucky, you know, how he said, "Hey, this is our territory, this is our goal." It's actually technically our goal. I really love that. You know, once everybody knew there was gold involved, also with Bradley, that everybody came up with a reasonable like argument. Hey, why this actually belongs to them. Mm-hmm. So it really shows like also how humans work. You know, you see something you want, and then you figure it out. It's like, how can I make a good argument so that basically. So also like for me that I know this is actually mine.
And King James was the last one to find out because his whole goal was to find out why these white boys were here. Why are y'all here? You know,
and he wanted his brother back. For him, his brother was like the main. What was the goal in that?
Yeah, his brother was the goal, but he was like, why are these white boys here? Like,
because it makes no sense.
It makes no sense. You're so far out of your element to be here. You know, and he by the time he found out it was too late. It was him and Don had that spaghetti western standoff.
Yeah. And also like really like, you know, when once they found their car and when they brought like the license plate, like they are from Arkansas. Like it's like
they travel.
There must be something here, something.
And the fact that Raymond didn't want the mission, he knew about it, but he wanted to tell Ice Cube about it. He knew that
he saw the rift between Savan and King James. So he's like, you know what? I agree with you, man. Mm-hmm. You know, I get him as a partner to get 50-50. But, you know, Savan had his own thoughts.
And this is also the thing, you know, what is also one of the major, like, fighting points in the movie, you know, when the two like in the beginning were like on going there for the search for gold, and they had this discussion, hey, what if somebody's there? Whoever is there, we just pull them in and we're gonna divide the gold.
And that's what they did with Bradley. You know, once Bradley started to figure out the whole thing, hey, like, all right, we'll split 3 ways, but we need to survive. And another thing I really enjoy, I love the various ways they try and escape. You know, once they're trapped in by the gang, because they're trying to look at ways, bust down walls or climb out through the catwalk. And every way they get taken out and they get stuck. And of course, we got to give credit to Tommy Lister Jr., the big muscle himself.
Rest in peace.
With damn spikes on his shoes. And like, what can you do against a beast of a man like that?
Yeah.
Bloody Susie.
Spike shoes.
I like how they're trying to track him because he was upstairs watching them escape from the windows. So they're trying to track him to see his movements.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic.
Also, shout out to Glenn Plummer, man, and Luther, the sniper, the so-called good sniper.
The second Luther back to back. This Glenn Plummer as Luther, and it's funny how Glenn Plummer and Brian Mims is in this movie together, and they were in a movie the same year called South Central as gang members that end up going opposite ways and stuff. So to see them together here is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Since you mentioned the different paths to escape from a building that to try to figure out, etc., and also once again, Walter Hill basically makes the location, the set, also like a character in the movie.
Mm-hmm. That whole area was a character.
Exactly, and this is so, when you compare this with Streets of Fire or with 48 Hours, they all have very different visual interpretations and visual styles, but you can totally see the style of Walter Hill in all of them. It shows that how versatile he is in a visual way, but also how true to himself he is. That hey, I can take my characteristics and put them basically in any setting, and it works.
It works, and to me, that's the testament of a great director, especially when they just have one prime location and they use the variety of elements of it. And I like how he utilized the element of surprise with King James, them using their own, like they got a police hat and police suit and stuff, and try and fool them into thinking the police is here to save them, only for the sniper to get up there, Luther, and take them out once they're at the window.
You saw how smart he was and how his planning was. He sent Ice Cube out there to make sure that they don't escape through
the fire
escape. Yo, he made sure he got Luther to get up there on the other side of the building to snipe them out the window.
He had the big man up top.
Yeah, what's the name? How about calling him Tiny up top? His planning was great. So to trap them in and make sure they have nowhere to escape.
Yeah, and this is also a good thing about a Walter Hill movie. When you watch it, you really say, this makes sense. Like, you don't feel offended by a movie offending your intelligence. He's like, no, basically, because when you watch it as an audience and you see it, it's on the one hand so impressive how intelligent everybody acts, but how they would act, because King James is King James for a reason. He wouldn't be the businessman that he is if he wouldn't be intelligent, and if he wouldn't have like a grasp and strategic thinking and everything.
And you saying that really made me put in perspective of how similar the characters are. Like King James and Vince, they want. Vince wants to get out of the situation. Yeah. King James wants to get his brother back and neutralize the situation. Don wants to get with the gold, so he's obsessed with getting that gold and getting out of there. Yep. Saban is obsessed with just wiping these guys out.
Yep.
So they're mirroring each other, like
and they both have this conflict with each other to the point where it's tearing them apart, and everybody's picking sides. Bradley is siding with Don.
Yeah.
Raymond is siding with Saban. So it's like infighting on both sides of it, and it leads to more and more tension, and that's where the climax really pays off.
Exactly. I also love the thinking, of course, of Don and Vince. When Don says, we have only guns, we have like a limited amount of bullets. Like we can off one of them and get like another gun. Also, like he was thinking already, like. He having his like this basically like this Alamo mindset in there.
Yeah, the further the movie goes along, the more you see Don's complete rage to get out of there with the gold, because he will not lose. And I like that element of it, because you got to have the characters like, I'm not going to be pushed on the wall and let these guys bully us out of what we found.
Yeah,
we're gonna get out.
They go once they go.
Vince just wants to survive. It's all about surviving for Vince, because he's like, we got put in this situation that we did not expect, so now we need to just get the hell out of
here. Yeah, because he's actually only one from that side with something to lose.
Yeah, he's got his family. Yeah, he got a family to get back to.
Yeah,
just like King James, he wants his brother back. And man, oh man. Lucky's death. I like how they played up Lucky and said the reason he got the name Lucky is because he's survived so many drive-bys. Bullets go around him.
Yeah. Well, this one.
He got a prosthetic leg too, right?
He's white.
I think he got a prosthetic leg.
Either his messed up leg or whatnot. I know he had the prosthetic.
Yeah. So that's what he had that leg. But the whole setup of them with the drug, when they know that he's a crackhead and all that, so that's what that whole setup. I remember when I watched it as a kid. I remember the first time I watched the movie. I think he gonna set y'all up.
He knows the setup.
He gonna set y'all up. So why were y'all trying to fall for that? Especially Don. I can see that happen to Vince. Like Vince, he's up. But the fact that Don is going to untie him with one arm, he gonna get you.
Yeah.
He like, let me do it. You might mess it up. I'm like, bro, I'm not untying you. If I mess up, you die.
Exactly. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But you know,
And it's like and you did like the first chunky that is more afraid of any of his ways than getting the stuff.
He ended up getting high himself.
But man, he took that needle and jammed it into Don's neck. It was like, oh, Don fucked up now.
He fucked up.
And then Lucky and Vince go at it, and Luther's sitting there watching.
Yeah.
So he's got a prime shot.
Yep.
He takes the shot. Lucky's the one that get hit, and I love Luther's reaction.
Yeah.
He calls up. He said, "Hey, Lucky got shot. You know, the white boy turned him. You know, it wasn't my fault. You just tell King James it wasn't my fault. The white boy turned him. He did."
He got the hell out of there, man. Yeah, nah, I ain't saying no.
He's like, I'm getting out of here. I'm not taking no accountability. It was the white boy's fault.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Yeah,
But another scene that kind of got me before that was when the real cops came by.
yeah.
And they pulled over Raymond. And I remember, and looking at it different now, especially with the whole situation, all the things that are going on now. But I remember when I first saw the movie, like, man, it's two black cops. How lucky they got off. Because if it was two white cops, they would have been, first of all, both of them would have came out the car instead of just one. And they would have been more suspicious and they'd been questioning hard. The brother, all he was just saying, what you doing in this area, man? You're supposed to fire shots in this area. So that's all. He really wasn't pushing Raymond any further information. And all Raymond said, "Oh man, I just came by here to stop and take a piss." Like, really?
I mean, it's also the movie is also like on the weekend, so probably also they just want to get home. Like they were annoyed that they have to go there because somebody.
Yeah, plus they got a call that was.
And they had another call.
Yeah, another call. Yeah.
Yeah,
but it is funny how it was two black cops and stuff, because usually it's like one black cop, one white cop, or two white cops. You know,
you gotta fill a quota.
Yeah. So you know, it was like, oh, it's two black cops. Yeah, we able to get off.
Get off, because like I said, two white cops. It'd been a massive scene then.
And I like how King James was like thinking about what Luther, you know, because Luther had his gun pointed at the cops. Like,
he said,
I know you're not stupid enough to shoot a cop.
Yeah, it's like it.
He don't need no more problems.
Yeah, no way he causing that.
And even Bryce was looking at it like, yo, I know you ain't gonna shoot a cop because that's the stupidest thing you ever do.
Yeah, because in that situation, and that
it'd be compromised.
It probably would have turned into a Judge Dredd movie.
The whole movie, the whole day would be compromised because the other cop was in the car. So the moment you shoot that cop, he's waiting in for backup, and there's gonna be a whole bunch of backup coming, and you screwed.
So they let Raymond play the situation out, and they got lucky.
Yeah, he got lucky.
And of course, it also plays into like the character development further. It's like, why did nobody of the firemen like tried to contact the cops?
No.
And of course, like you have like Vince wanted to, but Don is like, nah.
Yeah, Don said no.
That's when they had their big blow up, their fight.
Yeah.
And again, it's like early on, they realized they got set up with the fake out of the cops. So now Don is like, no, fuck that shit. Even if it's real cops, it's too late now. We don't find the way out.
Goal. Yeah, I think they found the goal because Don wanted the cops. Yeah,
no. See, here's the thing, and I think the middle of the movie is important. They found the goal, but then they realized their situation. Like, man, we're not getting out of here. Ice Cube took out the catwalk. You know, so now that was completely out of the question. And they're sitting there reflecting, like they're looking at Bradley, like, man, look, Bradley have all the gold. We just want to get the hell out of here. But then when Bradley said, "Well, I know a way out," that changed everything for Don. They're like, "Oh, you know a way out? Yeah, we just bust through the furnace and escape up there through the tunnel up to the ceiling, to the roof."
But he lied on that because if either one of them would have thought that wouldn't going down would be better off than going up. Because if you're going up, how are you're going to have to try to get across another building, and you'll be more of a target. because whoever's outside there, you got the sniper out there in Luther. You got whoever's rolling around the streets. So you really pretty much have no escape from them going up, especially climbing and going across the roofs. Your best way is to go down, because if you go down, well, what's the name? King James and them, they all gonna come back up, because they were downstairs getting all the C4 and the fire, the Molotovs right there. So if they would have went down, they all going up, and they had no idea they stood there.
And I trust the guy that lives there.
Exactly. And that's why he didn't say nothing about going down.
Yeah, he ain't say nothing.
Oh yeah,
he go up,
escape up, going to the roof. Yeah, he ain't say nothing about going to the bottom.
He said nothing about going down because he went down when he escaped. He said, "I'm going down," because he knows that's the easiest way to go out.
And that's why you gotta love how the different scenarios play out, because everybody has a different way of escaping. Yeah. And that's what makes this movie so great. Like, you tell them one way, but then there's secretly another way.
Yeah.
But I just love how once they found that out, Don was determined to get out of there with the gold. Because before that, he was ready to give it up. He was like, Bradley, you can take all the gold, man. We just want to get out of here. Yeah. But once that exit plan came, and that's where the fight with the cops, because now he's like, no, we can't bring the cops involved, because they're going to compensate it. Yeah. And we're going to lose out. Mm-hmm. So Don was obsessed from that point on to escape with the gold. And then that's what led to Lucky getting shot. And I love after Whisker told King James Lucky's dead, King James went off. Like, he was like, fuck this, because he tried to parlay and come up with a truce to try and get out of the situation and find out why they're here. But he was like, after that, I'm going in guns blazing.
Gun blazing, shotguns to the door, Molotov to the door is over.
That was a really fantastic scenery, like all of the flames around, and then basically they had like the standoff, and
you had the standoff between Don and King James. You had the standoff between Savan and Raymond, and it's like all for the gold. And Bradley was caught in the middle.
I love how when he came in with the C4 stuff in his hand, and he saw Bradley with gold, like, "Hey, what you doing with that bag? Put the C that. Hey, that bag don't belong to you. Gold. That's my gold. That's my gold, man."
And then Raymond comes out of nowhere, like, "You think I'm gonna let you walk away with all this gold? I'm the one that put you on this." And like I said, gold changes everything, and once they found out about the gold, it's like, who's going to turn on each other?
It's really crazy how this movie did not more of an impact, because this is such a fantastic Walter Hill movie, and more than that, it's just a fantastic movie. It is like the characters, once more. Also, it's like a very simple plot, but it's the relationship of the characters that are very deep.
Yeah, and
also like a classic Walter Hill strength. So this is also a movie every character you can analyze so well, and it exactly because Walter Hill shows it that way. Like I said, the strategies they pick, like the how they argue why they should have that. Every character totally makes sense from their point of view, why they're doing things.
And when you have somebody like Bradley, the ending of the film is just perfect, because I love how compassionate Vince is. When he comes back after the car was totaled and stuff, he comes back, you see the place burning and stuff. Bradley's the last face he see, and he's like, "Bradley, man, let's get out of here." Like, "Man, I can't keep up, man. They're gonna be coming after you, man. So just run." And Vince, he runs, he turns around. Bradley's like, "Go, man, get out of here." Vince runs, and Bradley's like, "Yeah, all the gold,
all the gold."
Yeah.
It will be, of course, it's very interesting what it does with the gold, because the way it is, it's very tough to sell on the black market. So you basically have to like mold it so to make it like untraceable. And of course, then you also have to have the right guy that doesn't ask questions where you like come like where you got the gold from.
Well, you know, it was right underneath where I slept at. I just found it. You know? Yeah, like the movie ends on a good note with everything that's happening, and the character that you least expected to walk out with the gold walked out with the gold.
The gold, yeah.
I love this film, man.
It's the first time I've watched it, and it's not the last time that I watch it. I wish I would have watched it back then, but let's just say, as you have seen, German distribution didn't do the best job that anybody would want it to see.
Yeah, but that title.
Yeah.
Title.
But yeah, I like I said, I used to watch this film all the time, and every time it was on TV. You know, it's the only film with Ice-T and Ice Cube in it together. It's like I gotta watch it. You know, and I just listen to the entire end credit song because it's Ice-T and Ice Cube. What can I say, man?
Trespass.
Yeah, absolutely, total recommend. And Walter Hill classic, fantastic actors, all the great soundtrack that totally fits the scenery, amazing scenery, very simple plot, classic adventure tropes, and this movie it doesn't have any length. There's no scene in it where I would have said like, oh, this is like dragging on. No, it's perfectly paced.
Perfectly paced, and that slowdown in the middle is important for character.
Yes, exactly. Because this is not an action movie. This is not a hood movie.
No.
This is an adventure. This is a quest for gold.
Exactly, and when gold is involved, you can guarantee you backstabbing will happen.
Yeah.
Everybody wants their piece, and like I said, this film is super underrated. William Sadler is great. Rest in peace to Bill Paxton and Tommy Lister Jr. You know, and just a great cast overall. And Walter Hill is great.
This movie doesn't have a single weakness.
It's a great film.
Yeah,
great film.
I'll give this easy 4 out of 5. If you're going by that one.
Absolutely,
it's definitely still enjoyable.
And it's just rewatchable. You know, you can just rewatch it at any time and just get more and more out of it.
Yes.
So I see a long thread on Twitter about the movie, and the movie I'm gonna talk about next week. He also talked about that a lot. Because when Charles S. Dutton passed away, someone brought the movie up to him, and he went on.
You know, Rutger Hauer. Charles S. Dutton didn't pass. Rutger Hauer passed away a couple years ago.
Yeah. Well, there is already a couple of years of its time.
Yeah, I know, man. This sucks.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to next week because Ice-T returns with Surviving the Game, and we talk about a cast: Charles S. Dutton, Rutger Hauer, F. Murray Abraham, Gary Busey. Woo!
It's also going to be a first-time watch for me. I still have to look where I can get the movie, but I'm looking very much forward to it.
And the funny thing is that this is directed by the same man who did Juice with Tupac, Omar Epps.
And
this is his second film.
Juice was a fantastic film. There's also like something I'm very happy that you introduced to me, because otherwise I probably would have never stumbled upon the film, but that was really good.
Yeah, so Surviving the Game is next week, and that will start our Rutger Hauer trifecta, because we'll be doing 3 weeks of Rutger Hauer. Flesh and Blood, The Hitcher.
The Hitcher is such a
intense movie. That movie's something else.
The movie's so intense, and I don't think The Hitcher, how Rutger Hauer portrays him, I think he's in my top 3 most hated antagonists.
Yes. Like
because he's so good at it.
You feel so happy when he got his comments at the end.
Yes, because like that one scene, when he gets rid of him and then he sees him in a car passing by with the family.
Yeah.
That it's fuck. That movie is. I'm already not looking forward to rewatching it. It is so good, but it's such a movie that makes you really uneasy watching.
It does. Like that movie, I watched the least amount of time, but it's so ingrained into my brain.
Exactly.
Especially the scene where the girl is tied up to the two trucks. It's like, what?
Yeah. It's really, like I said, this movie where you don't watch it very often, but all those fucking scenes, you don't get them out of your head.
You can't.
And the thing is, you don't even see the scene with the girl, but I have that scene in my fucking head.
And that was such a genius move for them.
Yeah.
They didn't need to show.
Exactly, because your brain does the rest.
Exactly.
And nobody can come up with scarier things than on your own brain.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And next week, Surviving the Game is going to be another great film. Jace, you going to join us for that one next week?
Don't know. We'll see. I ain't watched that movie in so long, man. Yeah, I definitely want to give it. I haven't even seen Sean. It's on DVD or not? That movie is a ghost.
But yeah, that's going to be a great discussion.
1990.
So, anything else you want to say, VV?
Actually, my mom is visiting right now, so it's a busy weekend. But otherwise, Chase, I got something very nice today, which you might appreciate. It's the Golden X 1 and 2 vinyl soundtrack.
Oh, the vinyl. Oh, those are new ones. I've seen those.
Yeah, that's the new one. It's the that's the repress that Data Disc came
I've got the artist. He did the same artwork for the Tekken.
Yeah.
It's available on Amazon Prime. Surviving the Game.
Yeah, you go looking forward to right now.
But otherwise, no plans this weekend, and looking forward to next Friday already.
Oh yeah, and I'm not sure if there's a common call. I know Al said it in his live video last week, but I don't know if I'll be able to join because I'll be busy tomorrow night. But Jace will be able to join if there is a show.
Yeah.
But other than that, another great stream, man. Like I said, I will not go into this film and not think of Die Rap Gang.
That title, man. That
title right there.
Lucky the Americans never caught one of that title, because boy, oh boy. Really
Die Rap Gang.
You should you make a limited release and use it as a variant cover.
Yeah, have the cover be on the back of the original cover so I can flip it over.
Yeah.
Arrow sometimes uses international covers as a variant covers in there. But as like Sideshow Bob said in The Simpsons, it's not Die Bart Die, it's Die Bart Die. It's German. And if you're German, you can't be a bad. And if you're German, you can't be a bad person.
But that was hilarious, man. But yeah, man, great show. Thanks for people that showed up. Air Spidey 23 and Steve White. Appreciate it. Of course,
thank you, Chase, for being here, and you're always welcome.
Yeah, if you could join us next week, man, it'd be awesome.
Yes.
So, with that in mind, y'all have a great weekend. We'll see y'all next week. Later, y'all.